Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Jarvis here. You are with me on my IG, my FB. What else we got going on the Wisdom app? We have, it's all over the place tonight, and I just want to welcome each and every one of you to another edition of Jarvis TV. Man, the Impact Rally is over. It is done. It finished. I'm a little bit more rested today. Yo, what's up to my guy MTC Marks in the building, holding it down. Man, missed you this weekend, but I appreciate everything you did to help pull off this Impact Rally. Yo, listen, everybody, this has been a great weekend. I'm back at it, as you can tell. We didn't skip a beat. We may have gone away from our topic for a couple of days, but we did not skip a beat. We made sure that we were in there live. The consistency, 90 days live, 90 days live. We got about 30 more days, y'all. But it's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely great. So tonight's topic, what we're going to talk about is we're going to be talking about we're back into all about the emotions, and we're going to be talking about 8 easy ways to be happier. 8 easy ways to be happier. Yo, what's up, Bree? I see Bree over there on YouTube. What's going on with you? What's going on with you? And what's up to my family over here in Wisdom? I see love coming through. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So, man, we are simulcasting, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that you can come up on any outlet that you would like to come up on. If you want to come up on IG, come on up. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. I'd love for you to join the conversation. If you want to come up on Facebook or YouTube, I'm actually putting into the link, or I'll put the link in for you to be able to join, or just let me know that you want to join in, and we'll get it set up for you to be able to come in and be a part of the conversation. So I'd love for you to join the conversation. If you're a little nervous about being on live, it's okay. Go ahead and just put comments in the chat, and I'll communicate with you. I'll make sure that we can talk about it and get in on some good stuff, man. And then, so for my people over on the Wisdom app, if you would like to add in any gems, jewels, ask any questions, you are listening to me, so you will be able to go ahead and just request to join, and I'll bring you in. Everybody, and I will say this, everybody will be given time to have a great conversation. my Wisdom people have a time limit, so I'll make sure that I stick with it. Unless it's really good. If it's really, really good, sometimes I ask people to stick around and let's communicate. Let's talk about it. What's up to my man, Jason Kente? Bro, we missed you this weekend. Chuck Lane in the building. My God, came through in a big way. Thank you for being there this weekend, Chuck. Adding so much value. Man. And it was a great event. I can go on and on and on about the Impact Rally and how powerful it was, how impactful it was. But I'm going to let the people tell you about it, because everybody who was there that communicated back to me let me know how life-changing the event was. There was a mindset change. There was a physical change. There was we're teaching you how to get out here and get into your communities and everything. And so what's up? I see my cousin just jumped up. What's happening with you, T? Good to see you. So man, like I said, I'm man, that I don't know if you've ever had to put an event on, especially when it's your event, but the amount of things that run through your mind, and there's things that can challenge your just the very process. And in that process, I am so happy that we didn't quit, that we didn't give up, that we didn't throw in the towel, that we got to the finish line, because in getting to the finish line, there was so much more gratitude, so much more joy, so much more excitement, so much more happiness, which is one of the things I'm going to be talking about tonight, than what would have been if I'd just been like, you know what, guys, let's scratch it, let's go back and let's do something else. No, it's only impossible until you do it. Seriously, it's only impossible until you do it. I've heard that somewhere. I've said it plenty of times. I don't know who to give credit to, so I'll take credit right now. It's only impossible until you do it. And because I'm still getting over the high of this weekend and how much juice it took out of me, I got me a nice cup of coffee. So I'm going to take a sip of coffee for a second real quick. Hold on. And we're going to get into this conversation. So, man, you guys, before we get into the eight easy ways to be happy or happier, I want to talk a little bit about, I want to go backwards a little bit so that I can bring us back up to speed, because I'm pretty sure that there are those of you who are watching who you didn't see the other episodes that led up to this. And so one of the first thing that we did is we talked about all about the emotions. And in talking about all about the emotions, that just kicked us off. Like that got us all started. And it was an intro into what emotional intelligence is, just knowing yourself. And that's really what I'm focusing on right now is people just knowing themselves and getting them to the next level. Oh wow, that's funny. Bree thought this was a recording. It's okay, Bree. It's all right. I just read your thing. But then after we talked about all about the emotions, we dug into the knowing yourself, and that was unlocking and using this thing called emotional intelligence. And a lot of people don't realize that they have access to emotional intelligence the same way that there is an IQ, like just your IQ, your how smart you are. There's a level of emotional intelligence that you carry as well, and it's commonly referred to as EQ. And people who have a higher level of EQ, emotional intelligence, tend to do, I believe it's like 40% times better, 40% much better than people who have a high IQ in business. When it comes to working with people, and if you really think about it and you put that into context, think about a person who's like super smart, but they're not necessarily the best conversationalist, or they don't necessarily know how to communicate with other people or how to manage or lead other people. Like they have all of the knowledge in the world, but they don't know how to take people to the next level. So that's one of those things that as far as when you're looking at your emotional intelligence, and you're looking at somebody who has a high level of emotional intelligence, they tend to have much more success in business. As a matter of fact, people love to work with them. People love to work for them. People love to work alongside them. And that's something that's for somebody who's watching this right now. I want you to really just think about what it is that I'm saying, and how I'm coming about this, and what I'm putting out here to you. And the reason I want you to think about it is because I'm trying to like reopen your mind to who you are. Like nobody knows you better than you, although there are people who know you better than you think they know you, and better than you think you know yourself. I'm not gonna say it again because it seems like a tongue twister, but I'll say it again. Nobody knows you better than you, but they know you better than you think they know you, and better than you think you know yourself. And the reason I say that is because they see you from the outside. They definitely see you from the outside. And I'm going to take a pause for the cause and read what Bree put over here. She says she's restarted her happiness journey. And I've started by reading the Dear Fear Men. Oh, yep. Shout out to Dear Fear Men book. Your boy was a co-author in that, anchored that thing down, holding it down. That you got. Okay, Dear Fear Men book that I got from you. Fear is a major part of my unhappiness and discontent with life. Oh man, thank you so much for your transparency, Bree. And I will tell you this: even as you're going through that journey, even as you're starting there, fear is a great place to be. And I will tell you this: you have not been given a spirit of fear, but a power of love and a sound mind. That's how our Creator created us. That's how God created you to be. Fear is one of those things that it's a trick. It's one of those things where there's we have a stress portion of our brain, and it just releases all of this negative energy into us, and it causes us to feel stagnant based off of narratives that we write for ourselves. And you're right, that can be the enemy, and it is an enemy to happiness, because if we stand and we live in fear, if we're running around and we're living in fear, how many things in our life should we be doing that we're not doing? How many times could we have went and just put in the application for the job, and we were just afraid of the rejection that we thought we were going to get, and we didn't grab hold of it, and we didn't even have an opportunity to get the job. People say, "Hey, did you get that job?" Like, no, they picked somebody else. No, tell the truth. They didn't pick somebody else. You did not apply for that job because you were worried. You were afraid of what could happen. How many times in life could we have just experienced something so much better if we'd have just not been afraid to make the decision to do it? So tonight, as I'm talking about this, I'm going to make sure that I hit on some of these things, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about, tap into how to be happier, and as I'm progressing forward, just kind of giving you this recap. We even went so far as to go in and talk about, and I'm looking at my notes here. Happiness is. We talked about what is happiness. And in talking about what happiness is, we learned that happiness is not hinged on material things. It's not. And we in our human nature, we do have a propensity to attach happiness to material things, happiness to and success to material things, money, cars, houses, spouses, We say that this is going to be happy. I couldn't tell you how many times I've talked to people like, man, I'm going to be so happy when I get married. And then you talk to them a year later, like, why did I get married? So you can't hinge it on that. There's been so many times where I've talked to people like, yo, I'm so happy. I can look at my car, da 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 da, and they're talking about this car. They spend all this money on this car, and then now they got to put all that money into car payments, insurance, um, shoot, car payments, insurance, repairs. And I'm just like, okay, so I thought that was your happy space. I thought that's what you got it for. Nah, 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 nah. It's You cannot attach your happiness to physical things, right? You cannot attach your happiness or your success to physical things. There's people that I've talked to when they're in a corporate space and they say, man, I'll be so much happier when I get this promotion. I'm gonna be making more money, I'm gonna be doing this, I'm gonna be doing that. And then you find out that they're not as happy as they thought they were because they're taking on more responsibility. More is required of them, more is asked of them. And that's okay. I'm not gonna, I can't, I don't want to knock it, I don't want to take away from it, because the reality is you have moments and shimmers of happiness. And that's one of the things that we talked about before, is that happiness happens in moments. It's the moment that you heard yes. It was the moment that he got down on his knee and he proposed to you. It was the moment that and you have to be observant of your surroundings. We find our happy moments through a struggle. I'm going to use a prime example. So this weekend I had the Impact Rally, and anybody who saw me from the outside, you probably thought like, "Yo, this is it's just happening." But nobody knows the hurdles that had to be jumped. Nobody knows the flames that had to be ran through. Nobody knows the mud that had to be trekked through. Nobody knows any of those things. They just know what the end result is. Now, in getting to that point, there were times where it was stressful. There were times where I felt the weight. There were times where my mind was like in a space where I needed to get out of that space. And I tapped into certain things where I was like, no, I'm not going to let myself be in that space. And I'm going to share some of those things with you tonight. But I'm telling you this because even as I was going through that, there were small things that happened along the way where it just brought me solace. It brought a smile to my face. It put me in a position of feeling like I was in my glee. Like I'm like, yo, I like this. And that's with every single one of us. You don't know what real happiness is unless you experience some sort of tough time. You don't have to go through tragedy, but unless there's some sort of a toughness. And life is going to happen. Life is going to continue to happen. You just have to get yourself in a posture and in a place where you have what I like to call a steady walk. You have to get to a place where you have a steady walk. And you also have to know that, you're not in this thing alone. I had to remind myself, I'm not in this alone. I'm not in this alone. I'm not in this alone. There's the pressure is there, but you're not in this alone. Even if you don't see anybody around, you're not in this alone. All right. So we went in and we talked about what happiness is, and we got in and we dove in and talked about the science of happiness. And in talking about the science of happiness, we broke it down and looked at a bunch of studies, which pretty much came out and said the exact same thing that I just said, which is you cannot make yourself happy with just physical things. Your success is not hinged on how much money you have. Happiness is not hinged on how much money you have. Now, are you going to be happier because you can do more and create more moments? You might, but then I also used the analogy, or I talked about how when I went to India and I saw people who had what I thought was nothing, but they were so happy in that space. They found happiness in their children, happiness in their family, happiness in the fact that they were living, happiness in the fact that they were breathing. And we sometimes, and I can only use us here in the United States because I haven't lived in another country long enough to be able to assess this. But I know in the United States, we take a lot of things for granted. It's kind of funny because we're like those kids that we look at and we're like, man, these kids act like they're so entitled. It's true. Just act like you're so entitled as Americans. You go into a third world country and it's like, oh, they ain't got no toilets, or you want me to squat somewhere? Listen, you all, there are some people who we forget to be grateful for the things that we have. I challenge people when I talk to them to have an attitude of gratitude, to walk in a space of understanding that people are going to be people, and you got to trust people to be people. You have to love unconditionally. You have to operate in a sense of saying like, okay, today is the day that I'm going to change and I'm going to impact somebody's life. And it doesn't even have to be major. I don't have to go and fly around with a Superman cape on. I don't have to have a Batman cape. I don't have to have the Captain America shield. I don't have to turn green and grow a bunch of muscles. All I have to do is show up. All I have to do is say hello. All I have to do is smile. All I have to do is give a compliment. These are all things that save the day for other people. All I have to do is listen, and listen long enough so that somebody, as they're talking to me, I understand what it is that they're saying and what's going on, and I can respond with wisdom as opposed to responding with what I think is cool. All right. So with all of that, that brings me to today, and talking about the 8 easy ways to be happier. But I also want you guys to know that where there's a science behind something, there's also a psychology behind something. So the psychology behind happiness, it started like way back when you were a child. I mean, if you think about it, I can think back to when I was in elementary school. And in elementary school, I remember I had this teacher. She was an amazing teacher, Miss Mansion. And Miss Mansion asked me, or she asked the class, she was like, "What are things that make you happy?" So when she asked us this question, "What are things that make you happy?" I mean, think about it. If you're in like third, fourth grade, second grade, what makes you happy is not the same things that would make an adult happy. Quite honestly, matter of fact, let me pivot off of me and go into an even more recent time. I I've heard parents ask their kids, what would make you happy? And when they ask their children, what would make you happy? Their children say things like taking me shopping, buying me a car. If you take me shopping, if you buy me a car, what are other things that make kids happy, or your children happy? You know, when I get gifts, when I get to play my PlayStation or my Xbox, when I get to go play with my friends, when I get to when I get my phone. It's all hinged to tangible things. And if we as adults don't take the time to go back and help them restructure their thought process and find happiness in moments and help them create happy moments, then they're going to do things that are going to start to tear them down. They're going to do things that are going to damage them, in a sense of, okay, now when they reflect, they're going to reflect on negativity as opposed to reflecting on positivity. When they reflect, they're gonna dwell on their mistakes, especially if, as a parent, when they make a mistake, you pounce on their mistake and you force them to face their mistake and, like, I can't believe you did this and I can't believe you did that, and you're talking down to them. That then begins to paint a picture to them that this is, that they can't do something, where you want to build them up. One of the things that I love about my mother that she always did is she did what I like to call speak life into me. We call it affirmations. My mom affirmed me very often. She told me every single day, "Baby, you're destined for greatness." I talked to her earlier today and she's like, "Son, I'm so proud of you. You're walking in your greatness." So her conversation has changed. I'm an adult now. So she's not just saying you're destined for greatness. She's letting me know you're walking into you're walking in your greatness, and you're going to continue to walk into greater. And that's the conversation that she has with me. This is my mother. She's been telling me things like this since as long as I can remember. She's been telling me things like this. And I encourage you as parents that if your child, if there's something that's wrong, I mean, let's give our children space and grace to grow, but let's not forget to discipline our children. Let me say that again. Let's give our children space and grace. What is space and grace? Understanding that they're human, understanding that they're learning, understanding that they're growing, understanding that there's influences that are outside of you and your household that are influencing the decisions that they're making. And now you have to do your best to become the loudest voice in their life. Now, I don't know why I'm in the child space and why I'm talking about parenting right now, but just receive it, because this wasn't intended. This is just something that's kind of flowing, right? So that means that God, He wants you to know about this. But when your child that's what space and grace means. It means that you understand all of those things because you've been in their shoes. Now, it doesn't mean you just let them fail. It doesn't mean that you just let them go out and make a bunch of bad decisions. You guide them. Now, in your guiding them, the discipline part of it is there's a way that when your child does something wrong, that you can discipline them and they understand, okay, this is not something I'm supposed to do. Now, however you choose to do that, that is up to you. All right. I don't know exactly what to tell you because I don't know your situation. I know that there are people who they believe in spankings. My mom did. Matter of fact, we called them whoopings. But trust me, I didn't want to get no more, so I didn't do the things that I ended up doing when I first started getting in trouble. Right. So I stopped getting myself in trouble at a certain age because I was like, nah, that's not for me. Right. Now, if you're a person who is disciplining and you're disciplining with pops, licks, spanking, whatever the case is, studies show that you should not use your hands. You should not use parts of your body. And the reason for that is because you don't ever want to go to reach to show your child love and they flinch because they feel like they're in trouble. All right. So you find something that is, something, I mean, back in the day in school, they had the little ruler they pop your hand. Okay, get you a little floppy ruler and be like, all right, I told you not to do that. Pep, pep, pep. And there's because they have to understand if they don't catch consequence and they don't catch discipline while they're at home with you, guess what? They're going to walk into the world with this entitled mentality, and then they're going to catch consequence and discipline from the world. Consequence and discipline from the world is not the same as consequence and discipline in your house. I don't know who I'm talking to, but this is for you. Consequence and discipline in the world is not the same as consequence and discipline in your house. As a parent, you owe it to your child. Matter of fact, in the Bible, it says that a parent that doesn't discipline their child does not love their child. Ooh, that's tough. That's crazy. Because if you think about it, a boss that doesn't show reprimand really doesn't care that much about their team. That's the same as discipline, right? A leader that doesn't come back and check the team on, okay, we didn't do this right, this didn't happen, but in a way where the team understands, like, hey, okay, we got to get better at that. We got to do this better. What do you think that coaches do in the NFL and the NBA? When the team messes up, there's consequences. Those consequences, although they're not as harsh as or as rash as going to jail or anything like that, they're running. They're probably fined. They're probably, just depending on their level, but there's consequences to wrong actions, right? There's rewards to right actions. And we have to teach that in the household to our children. Now, you're probably saying, well, what does all this have to do with happiness? It has everything to do with happiness because those things help you start to build the levels of happiness in your life. It helps you start to build what you see as things that contribute to your happiness and what you see as things that are enemies to your happiness. Now, as an adult, I can think back and I'll go back into my story and I remember my teacher asking me, what did I want, or what made me happy? And I remember my answer being something simple. And my answer was like, it makes me happy when my grandma buys me a new pair of shoes. All right. Well, if my grandma buys me a new pair of shoes now, I'm going to smile, and it's going to contribute to that feeling of like, okay, there's the emotion of happiness. Like, oh man, thank you, grandma. I'm going to have more gratitude than I am going to be on that happiness scale if you were to put it on a meter, right? Now, as we get older, what happens is our happiness, it changes. Now, one of the things that I found, and one of the things that I definitely have here in my notes, is that happiness is a very slippery thing. It's very slippery. And the reason why it's slippery is because the nature of it is going to change as quickly as our lives do. So what made you happy yesterday is probably not the same thing that's going to make you happy today. That what made you smile yesterday may not make you smile 20 years from now. And that's just something that we have to grab a hold to. Now, to counter not feeling happy, to add more happiness to our scale of happiness, there are 8 simple, easy things that we can do to make ourselves happier. And you're probably asking yourself, well, why is it important for us to be happy? Okay, well, good. Let me go backwards just a little bit. When I was talking about the science of happiness, the studies showed that people who were happier got better evaluations when they got their eval time at work. They made more money. They had like they just happened to achieve more things. And they're all of these are things that took place. Like these, I'm telling you, like I'm looking at my notes, and all of these things are true. So they people who are happier, they just tended to have so much more happening for them on their behalf. They just inherently they got so much stuff. I mean, let's see. They made more money. They have a stronger immune system. That's another thing. They're more satisfied in their marriages and in their relationships. They're much more charitable, right? They do all of these things. And when I talked about that before, I used the story of Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge, and how he changed, how what contributed to the change of Ebenezer Scrooge, what contributed to those things. So I'm going to take a pause for the cause because I have someone that's over here with me on the on our Wisdom app. Sorry, I'm still a little foggy from the weekend, but I'll bring in my man Creed, and Creed is going to I'm pretty sure he's going to add much value to this. So let's see what Creed has to say. And we're talking about happiness, 8 easy ways to be happier. But the topic that we're talking about is about those emotions. And let's get into that happiness. Creed, my man, what's happening?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing wonderful, man. How's it going?
Oh, man, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. How you feeling?
Oh, man. Amazing.
Oh man, it's
Absolutely
amazing.
amazing.
It's
Yeah.
amazing times, man. Amazing times.
Yes, sir. So what you got for us, Creed?
No, I was just chiming in, and I noticed you were talking about childhood, just caregiving, our caregivers,
Yes.
our child caregivers. And for myself, it was weird how you just brought the topic up because I'm happy, but it was a time where I didn't really understand what happiness was. And I think most of that was because before I was able to really understand right from wrong, good or bad, my caregivers made that judgment, that decision for me. And
Right.
my grandmother and my mother raised me. I had an absent father, so to speak. That's a whole other subject. But make a long story short, with that being said, my grandmother was old school. I was the first grandson, so it was I did no wrong. I mean,
Right.
she was, whether I was right or wrong, she was down for me. Whatever I wanted, I got. Whatever I needed, I got. You know what I'm saying? And my mother, she was similar the same way, but she was like reward based on merit.
Right.
Right. She don't reward bad behavior.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And she wanted me to learn. So I was reading books at 3 or 4. I mean, it was like it was just astronomical because I was hooked on phonics. And so make a long story short, my grandmother and mother used to get into it
Right.
over me. My grandmother basically, just kidnapped me, took me over. All decisions was hers. Period. You know what I mean? That's
Okay.
how it was.
Okay.
She was the leader of the home.
Yeah.
And that makes it sent mixed signals because I was happy. I thought I was happy all the time because I was getting things. But at the same time, I noticed that my mother was being disappointed or disappointing her. And instead of me leaning towards the person who birthed me, like, okay, well, mom, you're right. Even at a young age, I was sensing that I wasn't doing with my mother how she would have done, but my grandmother was here and she was like, well, I'm with mama.
Yeah.
And that kind of distorted my sense of happiness because I started with things as I got older. Things and things and things and it just made me happy instead of wanting to learn more, wanting to get be happy because I got another award and accomplishment.
Yeah.
I didn't have to care about accomplishing nothing. Mm-hmm. It was deep. So yeah.
Nah, that's good, man. And it's I like that you took it back and you talked about the caregivers between your mother and your grandmother, because that's really where that's the root of it. It starts in the household. Like identifying what happiness is, it comes from in the household.
And then fast forward, once I start meeting men, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Again, once I got old enough to realize, like, okay, that's a man there. You know what I'm saying? I didn't feel I had to honor them or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Back to my grandmother. So my uncle was in the house, and he was around, and he was like jealous of me. He didn't like me. Uncle didn't like me like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We was all right, but he made sure he let me know that I'm in the way. I was the first grandson, so it was back and forth with him and I. So I had these mixed signals about black men, African American. I'm an African American guy, so it was always it wasn't a hug, lovey dove. It was a dude, you better not be soft.
Yeah.
You better not be soft. And so it put a little hard on me where I'm young, mugging everybody because my uncle ended up mugging everybody. And then when I finally came across my dad and realized that he had a compromised character, so now my only happiness came from being slick. It was just really weird. It was just really, really odd until I finally realized that I had to dig back deep into myself, and find my true happiness. Like I had to really look at all the things that I had learned and realized that it was wrong.
Yeah.
The people who really loved me and tried their best with me, they didn't do it right.
Yeah.
And that's because the way they was taught to do it was wrong because of things that they fell for. And and it brought a sense of an extra sense of compassion and love.
Yeah.
Because I feel in my heart that because of certain situations, it was a time in my life that I peed on the world.
Yeah.
Not intentionally, and it wasn't like but I just didn't do right by the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I have to come out with humility and sacrifice and servitude because I feel like I owe you guys.
Man, that's good stuff.
If any of that makes any sense, man, I'm just telling you from the bottom of my heart, I don't get a lot of time to get on a national platform because I'm a simple guy.
Yo, man, I'm gonna need you, Creed, to come back up real quick. I do have Michelle Taylor because I want you, Creed, to finish off what you were saying, and I have a couple other people that are waiting to come up to communicate as well. So I'm gonna just go straight in the order of what I see people came up. So I'm gonna let Creed wrap this up really quick and what he was saying, and then we're gonna move on to the next thing.
I was saying, I mean,
Yeah.
while I get an opportunity to say I love everybody, man,
Yeah.
and how I know I do is because I didn't look for outside validation to find levels of emotion. You were saying that you're happy one year, you might be happy with one thing, and next is you're a completely different person.
Right,
But
right.
how I don't switch or flip is because I know self. I'm in an area of self that I love myself so much because I'm
Right.
glad I was saved by grace.
Right,
Grace
right.
means undeserved gifts.
Right, right,
And
right.
I know I'm a filthy rag. So because I was a filthy rag, and I know I've been redeemed from that,
Yeah.
just that service, just that feeling of being thankful for just thankful, man.
Yeah.
Because I could be down a whole nother track and a whole
Absolutely,
nother mindset.
bro.
So that brings me
Absolutely.
to a center of love that I'm happy regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah,
I'm
yeah.
in a happy place. I'm happy regardless, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm in a non-judgmental place. I don't label all like that. I'll
Right,
label
right, right.
it for the sake of communicating and
Right, right,
communicating.
right.
But as far as labeling, none of that, man. So
Right,
with that being said, then there's no judgment. So there's no sadness, no anxiety, there's no
Yeah.
fear, there's no doubt, there's no none of that.
Yes, sir. Man, I love it.
Or
Now,
my
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I'm done. That's
Okay.
you know me.
No,
I'm
gonna say
I'm
this
done.
is good because like a part of what I was where I was starting to head with it, you tapped right into it. I was, I'm a product of a single parent home, and the thing that one thing that I can say that my mother did that helped me always look at the silver lining, helped me always know that there was better out there, is that she loved me. She absolutely loved me. And the thing that she did that most mothers should do, and I recommend this, is she let me know that it's okay to feel and it's okay to cry. Because there were times where I wanted to cry and she's like, son, it's okay to cry. And I'm like, nah, because, my uncles and stuff trying to toughen me up, they loved me, but they were trying to raise me the way that the streets had raised them, which is you got to be tough. It doesn't mean that I'm not tough. It doesn't mean that I don't have that gruff. I don't have, what I mean? It doesn't mean that I'm any less of a man. But anybody who knows me knows that I love unconditionally. And it's weird to people because they don't understand how I can love like that. But I can love that way because when I was a kid, I promise you, bro, like I was in a Sunday school class and they were talking about Jesus. I mean, you know how it is when you go to church as a kid.
Yeah.
And the thing that stuck with me, even if I didn't believe in God, if there was ever a time in my life that I was like, wavering, is like, man, is God real or not? The thing that I remembered is they said Jesus was a man who, it was a friend that would stick closer than any brother. Like he said that, a friend is a man that would stick closer than any brother. Like, and I'm just like, yo, that's how I want to be. I want to be that friend that sticks closer than any brother. And it registered with me. And then it started to curate my thought process. And then I started to look at, okay, well, what does that look like? How does that happen? And then it turned into forgiving people. Bro, I called my mom's ex-husband. He was in my life for, I want to say, about 6 or 7 years, but the way that their marriage ended, he just wasn't there. But he was the only man that I had around me that I could really look up to. So I'm reaching out to him thinking like I can still call him dad. I can still, and he just, at that time, it was like I needed something simple and he just wasn't there. So when I turned like 24, 25, I think, I ended up calling him. This is like years later. And I said, hey, I just want you to know that I love you and I forgive you, man. And I just left it at that.
That's good stuff.
And that changed my entire life. So it's just, I know I got the others waiting in the queue, and I know they got some good stuff to say. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, that release, man. You're having that humble and that ability to release that feeling.
Yeah.
So you basically lightened yourself up, and you really crossed over to another degree once you humbled yourself down and said, "Look, man, let's talk. I'm a grown man. You're a grown man. Listen, man. You know what I'm saying? You're the only person who's ever in my life. But I just gave you whatever spill you gave them. It was something that was so needed, man. You followed a good order by doing that, man.
Yes, sir. Well, man, Creed, I appreciate having you on, man. I know that you connected with me. Do me a favor. You're connected with me on my community, so I can't necessarily see your number, but I know it's you. Text me a good number to text you, and I'll text you from my personal number.
Got you. No problem, homie.
All right,
And
right.
you stay up, man. Keep the mission, man. You already know my sleeves is old. My sleeves is rolled up. I'm ready to serve.
Yes, sir, man. I love it, man. Let's get it. Let's
I
get
love
it.
you too, brother.
All right, bro.
Have a
Peace.
good one. You too.
All right, everybody. That was Creed, and I'm actually getting ready to bring up. I did see Crystal in the queue. She was going to be next, but I don't see her in the queue any longer. So I'm bringing up Michelle. We're about to bring up Michelle, Miss Radical Self Care. Let's get her up here in the conversation. I know, and Crystal, if you're still out there and you're listening, please come back because I know you had some great stuff to add, some value to bring in. So, Michelle, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I am wonderful. I am absolutely wonderful.
Well, I hope it's okay. I had just two things I wanted to bring up.
Of course, it's okay. And you actually, it depends on where you're from. Where you from?
Indianapolis.
Okay, I guess that works. You can bring up two things from Indianapolis.
Well,
No, go ahead, though.
The first thing that came to mind was when you were talking about, kids, and you said, that you were just, your spirit felt led to speak on that a bit. And it made me realize something that, I want more people to realize, which is, a child, in childhood is when a lot of kids first get this conflicting messaging about their own happiness and their control over it, because a lot of times, you have the family dinner, like a Christmas dinner or a Thanksgiving, and sometimes aunties and uncles say some foul things to little kids, and if we as parents then say, well, go give Uncle such and such a hug after he's called, little Jimmy fat, or little Sarah, look at you just developing, right?
Yeah.
Them understanding their own happiness and displeasure is something real, and that, we shouldn't force them to hug everybody and, smile at everybody just because they're family. They should know that they have some autonomy over their feelings.
Right. I agree with that. Definitely.
And then the other...
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was thinking back to when I was a child, and one of the things you brought up a good point, and so I'm taking a note on it right now because I'm gonna talk about it after you finish. But go ahead.
And just the other thing I wanted to bring up was this. I'm so glad you're doing this talk about how to be happy, because I believe sincerely that complaining is the junk food of emotions.
Ooh, that's good.
We get a lot of validation by being able to take our, complaints to friends. You can call up and vent. But one of the things that, people who study happiness realize is that the more you complain, the lower your threshold to being irritated gets. So you complain more, you get more validation because all your friends say, oh, that's terrible, I'm so sad that happened to you. And it's sort of a vicious cycle.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's actually harder to teach people about gratitude and embracing happiness, because unlike junk food, right? It's almost like that's the healthy thing to eat.
Yeah.
But that was my two. I know I'm going long,
no. That's good. No, that's like I'm writing down. I'm taking notes. You said, the more you complain, the lower your threshold. Say that again. The more you complain, the more your threshold. I stopped in the middle of what I was saying, what I was writing.
The lower your complaint threshold gets, your irritation threshold gets.
There you go. Yeah, that's good. A lot of people need to hear that. I hope you guys are paying attention and you're taking notes just like I am. The more you complain, the lower your irritation threshold gets. And you, I love that you said complaining is the junk food, right? It's the junk food. Go ahead and say that again.
It's the junk food of validation.
The junk food of validation. Listen, Michelle, Michelle, that's this is some good stuff. Like, it's there. I love how you're putting it, because looking for the happiness piece, and I love that you're referring it to food, like the happy thoughts, finding your happiness, growing in happiness. It is like the healthy food. It's like taking a person who has all they've done is they've just gone to McDonald's and got a Happy Meal every day. And it's funny that they call it a Happy Meal because it's probably the most unhealthy meal the kid could ever eat, right? So,
right.
So you're eating this Happy Meal, and then you realize, okay, there's something wrong with my body, and I got to start eating healthily. So then, you're like, well, somebody says, well, I need you to start eating grilled chicken with no bread and eat more greens. Well, now you're like reluctant to do it, or they're telling you to stop drinking soda and they're telling you to drink water. well, you're reluctant to do it because now you're doing something that's going to be beneficial for you, where it was easier to do something that was damaging to you.
That's right. And you get addicted to the cycle of complaining, pointing out how you've been wronged. Yeah, it can definitely be an addiction.
That is good. That is good. So, man, I know that the time is running out on you. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say?
No, that was it. Thank you for letting me have that time.
Absolutely. So, you guys, this is Michelle. Actually, Michelle, come right back up for me for a minute. So I'm gonna bring Michelle back up because my platform. I love to share my platform, and I want her to be able to tell you guys how to connect with her because she has some very great stuff to say. And for Creed, I want to make sure that you all know how to stay connected with him as well. And so I told it before. Michelle, you're back with me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to. I am simulcasting, so we're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Wisdom all at the same time. Tell people how they can follow you. I mean, if you're comfortable with it, but this is my platform is your platform, and you definitely brought some great value, some great nuggets to the conversation.
Oh, you can follow me at a_tailored_life, and I'm that on Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube. I'm just A Tailored Life. You could just do that in the search, and it'll find me.
Okay. Well, good. So you guys heard it. A_tailored_life on Instagram, Facebook, all that great stuff. And then over on YouTube, it's just A Tailored Life straight through. All right. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for jumping in on the conversation.
Thank you. And thank you for, I look forward to hearing the 8 ways to get happier.
Hey, listen, we're about to dive into it. So thank you so much. You have a great evening, and we'll keep moving on. So everybody, that was Michelle and Creed, two individuals that added some great value. And I wanted to definitely tap in on what Michelle was saying, where she broke that down, saying complaining is like the junk food of validation. And I don't know who's out there who need to hear that, but if you're a person who's complaining all the time, you got to start changing the way that you speak. And I've said this before, when you can change the way that you speak, it's actually helping you change the way that you think. And when you can change the way that you think, you will change your circumstances. Because if you think the right things and you speak the right things, your circumstances, your environment has to form to what you're saying. Your words have power. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. The things that you say that come out of your mouth, they are given an assignment and they will fulfill that assignment. So if you're saying negative stuff, stop. You wonder why you're dealing with stuff is because you keep putting all this negative stuff out there. And, I just told you what happens. All right. So I am just like, man, every time I hear something big, I'm just like, my mind right now is like, whoa, let's get it. But I wanted to talk about, like, really quickly before I jump into these 8 ways. And actually, this will lead us right into the 8 ways, the 8 easy ways to be happier. The first thing I would mention is, like, when I was a kid, one of the things that just brought me so much solace, one of the things that just brought me so much peace, that put me in a place of glee, was around the holidays, being able to go and spend time with my family. And I remember as a kid, I just loved being around my family. I just absolutely loved it. And getting older, I remember when I went away to college, I was home. I was calling my sister, trying to find out, okay, when's everybody going to grandma's house? When's everybody going to grandma's house? And I would never forget this day. My mom said something, or my sister was like, well, mom is going to do this. Grandma and grandpa are kind of doing their own thing. Nobody's going to grandma's house. And I'm thinking in my mind, like, well, wait a minute. My entire life, this was a place where we all came together. And it was something that I looked forward to. Most people look forward to their birthday. Most people look forward to the vacation. I looked forward to just being able to spend that time with my family because it put me in a place of peace. I was happy just seeing everybody. And I would never forget that day. As soon as I hung up the phone with my sister, I was standing in my apartment. My girlfriend was there. She was going to give me a ride to go catch the ferry to go home. And I just broke down and started crying, fell on my bed. And she was like, what's wrong? And I couldn't stop crying. But I couldn't stop crying because I couldn't imagine not being able to spend that time with my family. Now, what does that have to do with happiness? It has everything to do with happiness, because if we can if we start to tap into those things that give us life, there are certain things that give us life. Your family gives you life. Now, there's some people out here, I've sat around some people's families and I'm like, oh my Lord, what is going on? we all have the opportunity to create our own families. Your family doesn't have to necessarily be the people who share the same blood with you. Your family can be the people who are in your vibe tribe, the people who that you connect with. You're surrounding yourself with the right people. Your family can be friends, coworkers, but in that space, the reason why I say that family piece is because when we think of the word family, that word has a tendency to signify some sort of a unity, but there's a level of forgiveness that people have for family that they don't have for anybody else. And for those people who find it hard to tap into forgiveness, because forgiveness, if you can just forgive people, that's a step into happiness. That is a very, some people say it's hard to forgive. I'm never going to forgive them. I'm never, no, listen, when you hold on to unforgiveness, it's like you drinking poison, expecting another person to die. It's like you holding a gun to your head, getting ready to pull the trigger and expecting other people to be hurt or to die from you taking your own life. Like that doesn't happen. Okay. It does not happen. If you jump, you're the one that's falling. They're not falling. They're still standing on the cliff. Okay. So let those things go. I don't know who that was for, but I'm just telling you, let those things go. All right. So, man, I'm looking at this and let me go ahead and give you this. So the first thing that I have as far as an easy way to be happier, one of my 8, and this is going to be something that's it's not super profound, you all. Listen, I did study, I did read, I did search things out, and then I compared it to my life and compared it to the lives of those people who are around me. But the first thing is you want to remember your memory. Remember your moments. I'm sorry. Remember your moments. There is a book out, and I don't remember exactly who wrote it. I was trying to see if I had it behind me. I don't have it behind me, but I do have the book, and it's called The Power of Moments. And in that book, The Power of Moments, they talk about celebrating small moments. There is a level of nostalgia that happens when you're able to sit down and have a conversation and tell somebody about a funny thing that happened in your life, or maybe a hard thing that you went through, and then they come back to you with something that was great that they went through, and then there's a level of nostalgia that's produced in those moments, and those are things that are very, very, very. It's necessary, right? Because when you can do that and you can remember your moments, those moments that you have in life, it takes your endorphins to another level. They kind of fire at will, right? It allows you in your heart to feel a little lighter. And a very easy way to do this is to start setting up, like, get pictures and put pictures around your house of happy moments, that vacation that you absolutely loved, the that time when you and your friends just did something crazy, funny, and stupid, right? If you put pictures up that remind you of those things are kind of like a subconscious way of tapping into happiness. It's something that you can do very easily. We have our phones. I mean, even on your screensaver on your phone, put your favorite picture on your phone. There's certain pictures that I keep in my phone because if I'm having a challenging day, I can just take my phone, open it up, and I can just swipe through really quickly and then go to that picture and it puts a smile on my face. There are pictures that I come across when I'm working on certain things and I'm looking for some sort of a clip, or I'm looking for something that will help me talk about whatever it is I need to talk about, or present whatever I need to present. And I'll come across a picture of a time where I did something that was just so exciting that it puts a smile back on my face. That nostalgia is necessary and that nostalgia is real. That is an easy way for you to be happier. If you don't have pictures up, and I'm one that I don't have any pictures up around my house. And I have a frame thing that says love. I have things that encourage me and empower me as I'm walking around. I mean, as you see, I got my quote over my shoulder here in the office, but you just have to create things, put things in place that are going to put smiles on your face. Another thing that I would add to that with creating moments is get plants, flowers. Those are things that when you see them, they put your mind in a different space. They help you out with your happiness. Your second thing, do not, whatever you do not dwell on your mishaps. Don't dwell on your mishaps. As a matter of fact, and I have this in my notes, I wanted to make sure I said this correctly. There are plenty of studies out there that show that if you sit and you just dwell in your mishaps, If you focus on the things that you messed up in, focus on the mistakes that you made, you're more than likely to get to a place where you start to be depressed due to a downward spiral of your internal emotions. All right. If you focus on the mishap, if you focus on the mistake, if you focus on the bad decision, then it's going to put you into a downward spiral of your emotions. You're going to feel depressed. And it's because of that. The first thing that happens is you start to obsess about that thing that you messed up on. You start to obsess about the bad decision. You start to obsess about the things that happened that were the mishaps. And then as you obsess on those things, you start trying to find mental, like you're trying to understand why you did them, but you're failing in being able to maintain mental clarity for other things that you have to take care of. All right. So when something comes up and you made a bad decision, made a bad choice, if you're focusing on the problem, then you can't really grab and operate in that space of mental clarity that will help you to find the right solutions or the better solutions for you to handle whatever it is that you're going on. So when I'm saying don't dwell on your mishaps, don't dwell on your mistakes, I'm telling you, don't let yourself get into that space where you're focusing on what went wrong. Instead, look ahead to see, okay, what can I do right? I look at my failures as steps to my success. I've made mistakes, and I know that there's times where I just have to deal with the emotion. I have to deal with the pain that I feel behind the mistake that I made. But I challenge myself not to get stuck in that space, not to get stuck looking at, okay, dang, I did this wrong. Dang, I did this wrong. Dang, I did this wrong. Because what I don't want to have happen is I don't want that downward spiral of emotions to run me into a place where I'm just depressed. And it's true. It happens. Okay. Um, you can, um, you can distract yourself. And in my notes, this is what I put. Oh yeah, you can distract. And what do I do to distract myself? You can distract yourself and keep yourself from dwelling on things by doing something small, something simple. You can go watch a movie, watch a funny movie. There's times where I'll be like, man, today's a tough day. I gotta watch something funny. I like to watch episodes of Martin. I will watch Martin all day if I'm having a tough day because I just laugh at the things that he does that are just so funny. Or I'll watch a movie or I'll play a game. Like I have little like brain teaser games that I keep on my devices so that when I'm in a challenging situation or if I'm in a place where I don't feel like it's a good distraction. You can read a book. All right. Whatever you do, number two, do not dwell in your mishaps or your mistakes. Okay, so let's go. Number one, remember your moments. All right, your history, your moments. You can do that through pictures. You can do that through plants. You can do that through whatever it is that you set up around yourself to give you those reminders. And the second thing is don't dwell in your mishaps. Whatever you do, do not dwell in your mishaps. Now, here's the third thing. Now, this one is going to sound very weird, but it's very true, and it's something that science has proved out. Um, give give to people, like it literally give to people. Giving away money makes people happier than when they keep it for themselves or they, and the way that I'm saying give, I'm just saying like give to people. Like you're more charitable. Remember I said that happier people are more charitable. If you want to be happier, start giving. I am a giver. It feels good to know that I've been able to plant that seed into somebody else's life. If it's my last $10, okay, it's my last $10. Somebody else will be like, you better keep that $10. It's not mine to keep. If I hold on to this last $10, I might as well be broke anyway because I'm just holding on to a tangible piece of something that's showing me that this is the last of what I have, where I can plant that and I can give that into somebody else's life. And guess what? There's a principle. When you give, it'll be given back to you, right? Give and it comes back to you, but it comes back to you more than the way that it went out. You have to look at your opportunities to give into somebody's life as seeds that are being planted. And whatever you do, don't when you give to somebody, don't expect for your fruit to come back from that individual. What do I mean by fruit? Well, when I give to somebody, I look at it as a seed, and I'm planting that seed in their life. Whether it's me giving 100% tip at a restaurant to a waiter or a waitress, okay, that was for them, and I'm planting that seed and just saying I honor the fact that you're serving me. Thank you so much. The serving is the greatest. But guess what? They're not going to be the one to give me that whole amount back because I planted the seed. Have you ever got the exact same apple that you planted the seed from when you were trying to plant an apple seed? No, what happens is that seed goes into the ground, it sprouts up, it builds this beautiful tree, and it produces a bunch of fruit. So you have more than you had when you started. I'm just saying. And then when you have more than what you had when you just started, on the flip side of that, inside of those pieces of fruit are more seeds for you to plant. I'm just saying, give, you guys, give, give, give. When you give to people, it just, I mean, and you can do this in different ways. It doesn't have to be monetarily. It could be like when you're out buying something, buy somebody else a gift. Instead of just buying for yourself, buy them something small, buy a knickknack, buy whatever the case is. Trust me, you're going to start to feel happier. Here's a good one. And this is something that when I talk to my clients, I ask them this all the time, even when I'm talking to my friends, is you want to midday at some point, you take vitamins, all right, especially BCAs or B12, B6. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say BCAs, especially the B's, B6, B12 vitamins. All right, and the reason why you want to do that, and I have this in my notes, is because what it does is it's a mood booster, and the best time to do that with your B6, your B12, or eating a snack that'll give you energy is in the middle of your day. So about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, that's a great time to do it. What that does is it boosts your energy, and it allows your mind to be clearer, be freer. Your stomach and stuff is not it's not challenging you. I know it sounds crazy, but eating a snack, taking your vitamins contributes to you being happier. It does. It may not seem like it, but it absolutely does. Okay. As a matter of fact, let me tell you this, because I wanted to make sure that I read this to you. I put this in my notes. So what happens is about middle of the day, your levels of serotonin start to go down. And if you don't know what serotonin is, it's a brain chemical that helps regulate your moods. So it's a mood regulating chemical in your brain. All right. So when you do that, when you take your B6, your B12s, it reboosts your serotonin levels as well. Okay. Just wanted to give you a little bit of science behind it because I didn't want you to think I was just saying it just because I was hungry. You know, um, I know that those who know me, who've been watching, who've been following along, my cousin told me the other day, she was like, man, I thought you were getting sick. I just, you look like you were losing so much weight. And I did. And it was because I was letting my stress levels get to me, and I wasn't working out, and I wasn't eating properly. And there's so many things that were happening. And so all of these things that I'm telling you all, trust and believe, these are things that I have been doing, especially through getting up to this impact rally, making it happen. All right. So now so we got number one, remember your moments, those memorable moments in life, right? Your history. You do that by putting up pictures, looking at pictures in your phone of you, not of other people, of you and the things that made you happy. Now, I'm not talking about going to Instagram or Facebook and just like swiping through the all of the stuff for you to look at you swiping through and looking at a bunch of other people's stuff. No, that's their highlight reel. That can contribute to you not being happy. You look at the things that were your personal highlight reel. All right. I want to clarify that. Your pictures that you're looking at are things that are a part of your personal highlight reel that contributed to your happiness. All right. Now, the number two thing was do not dwell on your mishaps. Don't stay. If you make a mistake, if you make a mishap, you can get out of dwelling on those things by distracting yourself. Watch a movie, watch a funny comedy series, read a book, play a game, something, but get yourself out of that space. Get yourself away from dwelling on the things that you messed up on and moving forward. The number four thing that I just finished talking about was eating a snack about midday. Whatever middle of your day is, eat a snack, because at that point in your day, that's when your serotonin levels start to drop a little bit. And we want to get your serotonin levels back up. That's the brain chemical that handles your moods. Now, it's very important that if you're not, that you at least start taking vitamins. And those vitamins will contribute to you boosting those serotonin levels. So B6, B12, those are good vitamins to take midday because they help boost that energy. They're brain food. They're like yay, you know what I'm saying? Now here's the number five thing. You ready? You ready? Number five is do a 30-minute workout. Do a 30-minute workout at least 3 times a week. Now, there's benefits to doing a 30-minute workout, and I want you to know this. So I researched this out because I've been telling people to work out, and people feel like I don't know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about, y'all. Do a workout. So listen, when you do a workout, A 30-minute workout it actually can provide you the same amount of benefits as doing an extremely powerful meditation. All right. So research suggests this, that during that half hour of exercise, the human body can increase the production of a protein called brain derived neurotrophic factor. All right. Which can have an antidepressant in it. So when you're working out, you are pushing a chemical through your body that works like an antidepressant. Or for those of you who want to be very critical of my vernacular right now, an antidepressant. All right. Now, you can also do yoga, but I encourage you to work out. There are some amazing like like trainers out there. They're like you, but 30 minutes. 30 minutes. If you do 30 minutes 3 times a week, this is going to produce it's going to help you boost those levels of that chemical antidepressant that can run through your body and help you feel better and help you think clearer. I recommend getting your workout on first thing in the morning because it helps you start your day off. There, listen, you guys, we have two types of we age in two different types of ways. There's two types of ways that we age. The first way that we age, we all know about. It's chronologically. Every 12 months, your birthday is going to come around. Every single 12 months, you're going to age. You cannot control that. The second way that we age, you can either speed it up or you can slow it down, and that is biologically. You can control your biological aging, which is the aging that happens on the inside of your body, on the inside of you. And how do you control that? You control that by the levels of stress that you allow yourself to carry, the drama that you allow yourself to carry or not carry, right? And working on your vitality, working out, eating the right things, doing the right things. These things contribute to the being benefactors of joyous living on the inside of you. Wealthy living happens on the inside of you based off of what you allow from the outside of you to get inside. Let me say that again. Wealthy living, and this is contributing to your happiness, happens on the inside of you based on what's on the outside that you allow to get on the inside. Those things on the outside that you don't want to allow to get on the inside are drama. I don't do drama. I don't. I would, if drama's like standing there and trying to talk to me, I would just be like, all right, bye. I'm just saying. Now, if your name is Drama, I'm sorry. Hopefully you're a cool person, but I just don't do drama. I don't do stress. I don't like to do stress. I know that things are going to get heavy at times, but that's why I'm telling you, like, I'm sharing with you not just things that I've done, but then when I searched out, what are the top things that people said? What are the top things that scientists have said? What are the top things that sociologists have said? What are the top things that philosophers have said? Psychologists have said? Therapists have said? What are the top things? These are like, they all fall in line with 8 easy things. And I'm just giving it to you in a simple way. All right. So now we have getting your move on, getting your strut on, working out. All right. So simple. First thing, remember your history with your highlight reels. Those are your pictures. Those are your things. Don't dwell in your past. Don't dwell in the mistakes that you made. Don't dwell in the mishaps. Don't dwell in the wrong decisions. Give, be charitable, give to others. And I'm talking about time, talent, treasure, all the above. Buy things for other people. Don't just focus on you. Eating the right things in the middle of the day, eat a snack in the middle of the day, taking vitamins, B6, B12. And then number 5, work out. Okay. Now, number 6, this is one that I had to work on. When you're making a big decision, limit your options. When you do not, now, limit your options. That's number 6. If you don't limit your options, the tendency and the propensity of us as human beings is to make sure that when we're making a big decision, that we make the right decision. So we'll try to think through everything and process everything. I do that when I'm processing things for my life. And I have to start limiting my options. When you limit your options, you can make a decision faster, which takes your stress factor down, which then contributes more to your happiness. All right. Now, here's number 7. You ready? And I'm moving a little quickly because I'm looking at my time here. Here's number 7. Pick up a hobby. Start baking. Or like, I mean, and it's funny because it doesn't matter. You can start baking. There's all kind of things that you can do. You want to find something that occupies your time 100%. Like it occupies you for 100%, and 100% of your attention is on that thing and you're engaged. So if that's drawing, if that's writing poetry, if that's reading, if that's writing music, if that's singing, if that's going for a jog, but I'm baking, y'all. baking works because you got to put your time into it. Look, I'm looking at my notes, making sure I give you what I had to say. But yeah, man, it promotes happy feelings. When you're focused on something, you're producing something and you're making something, it promotes those happy feelings. You're going to be motivated to do more things. Like it just does. I'm just letting you know. Random word. What's happening in my family? How you doing, man? And then number 6. Oh no, I'm sorry. Number 8. Um, this is a tough one. All right, it's gonna sound tough. Make changes. Make changes in your life. Make changes. Make changes. Well, let me say this how I wrote it down because I want to make sure that you guys have it. Make impactful moves every single day. There you go. Make impactful moves every single day. And the easiest thing that you can do every single day that'll allow you to feel like you're accomplished is make your bed. Plain and simple. So I guess I could have just rounded that all up and just said, make your bed. And I want you to know. So listen, when I was researching and I was looking this stuff up, the number one most impactful change that people talked about over and over is that when they made their bed, they felt better throughout the day. People seem to be happier every single day when the tasks in their lives are completed. Making your bed is a task. Make your bed. Complete task 1. And then look at your day and make small tasks that you can complete and continue to move forward. These are 8 easy ways to be happier. They are. They're 8 easy ways. Some of you may be like, well, that one about working out is hard, or that one about me taking vitamins is hard, or about that one about me picking up a hobby is hard. They're not hard. Just do them. And I'm not saying you got to do these things. I'm just giving you just things that are ways that you can be happy. Something that I encourage every single one of my clients, my friends, my close friends, my loved ones to do is to hug their loved ones daily. A real hug, a real embrace. And if you don't have somebody who is like, we all should have at least one person that we can walk up to and hug. Have you ever had a tough day and then somebody walks up to you and you may have just met them and they say, oh, I'm a hugger, and they give you a hug and you feel so much solace and you feel so much release. You feel so relieved, like, oh my God, like I can't believe this person just thank you so much. Yeah, that would be my bonus one right there. So I guess I should say 9 easy ways. If you could do that daily, these things will help you to be happier, you all. You know, our lives are full of things that are going to try to steal our happiness. There's going to be people that are going to come at you, and we talk about stress and we talk about mental health, and these are things that are a part of mental health. Your emotions are a huge part of mental health. And these 8 things that I just talked about are very easy ways for you to be happier. If you look through your past, if you look through your day today, if you look through, like, I look for things that made me smile at the end of every day now. I didn't always do that. I just started doing it more and more and more recently. There's so much to smile about. There's so much to be happy about. Get outside. Don't just stay in your house. Open the door. Even if all you do is walk out onto the porch, walk out there and just look up and take a deep breath. It's like, wow, that's what fresh air smells like. Because your house smells like you. So you want to get away from you and smell the fresh outside. Smell something different. Look at something different. I really hope that this was beneficial. I saw some of you guys popping up in the chat saying like, yo, this has been great. This is beneficial to me. Oh my gosh, listen, y'all. These are real conversations. And I will be back tomorrow evening. We're going to have another great conversation. But I am done for tonight. Now, I did already have in place a song for tonight. And I want to make sure that I play the right song for tonight. So give me a second. This is hold on real quick. Okay, so tonight, this is what we're playing. Tonight's song of the night. I hope you're ready. Janet Jackson, That's the Way Love Goes. That's what's gonna get us out of here tonight. Is Janet Jackson. You know, I've been taking it out with music every night, and all these songs are around are centered around something emotional. So Janet Jackson, matter of fact, they're doing a big special on Janet Jackson. So this is just a way to pay homage to Miss Janet Jackson. So man, this has been a great conversation, and you guys, please definitely stay connected. Reach out. I'm starting the Impact. We're starting Impact Academy coming up here. And I would love for you all to be a part of it. I'm going to start putting out more information about it. I talked about it a little bit at the Impact Rally. It's a 3-month program. This 3-month program is designed to take you to the next level. So I'm going to give you more information on that. But I want to start prepping you, because it's all about investing into yourself and investing into your future. You know, don't miss the opportunity to invest in you, and don't miss the opportunity to invest in your future. What you do now will echo for eternity if you do the right things. All right. So put your hands together for Miss Janet Jackson. Sorry, y'all. I'm just laughing at myself. Y'all, I'm not listening to it. I'm just bobbing in my head. Here we go. Let's ride. Like a moth to a flame burned by the fire. And as Miss Janet Jackson takes us out, my love is blind. Can't you see my desire? I'm going to be saying peace out to my people over on YouTube and Facebook first. Absolutely love y'all, YouTube and Facebook. You guys have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Peace to you.